Hey guys, welcome to today's FindTheBestCarPrice.com video. Today we're going to take a look at the 2021 Ford Edge SEL. This model has a sticker price of $38,115. Let's get started with our tour. This particular model comes with an exterior color of iconic silver. Obviously, there are multiple colors available to suit your desires and taste. Let's take a look at some of the exterior features to see what you can expect if this is a model you want to pick up during the 2021 model year. Something I do like to cover, of course, at this point of the video, safety features, and there are plenty of safety features on this particular model. I'll give you a partial list on the screen right now, just right over here to my right, to your left, as you face the screen. If you want to see a more in-depth list, check out the link to the Jimmy Grande website down in the description of the video. That way I don't make this a 1 to 2 hour video. We're going to try and keep it as short as possible. But since I talk for a living and have for many years, sorry, that can be a bit of a challenge, but that's why I put chapters in as well to help you out with that. So let's talk about styling as far as what you have here. LED lights all the way around. So the LED headlights, you're going to have those daytime running lights, LED taillights, even down here on the lower portion of the bumper, LED fog lights, so visibility not going to be a problem. One thing about a vehicle like this that I do like, the positioning of the headlights being that they're just, of course, pointed straight forward. Those fog lights down there help a lot if you live in an area where maybe it's really dark when it's at night, early in the morning. I know for myself, that's the way it is. The street I live on has no street lights, kind of a little bit outside of the city limits. And I have a similar vehicle to this that I drive every day, and it has those lights down here on the lower portion of the bumper, those fog lights, and if they're not on, I can't always see the edge of the driveway because there's a ditch on each side when I get down to the street. That is very helpful. And even though, yeah, it's plastic, you got that chrome look with the grille right here, plenty of air getting in. And while the overall appearance of the Edge is not real racy or anything like that, you've got some cosmetic vents down here, not active, but they are cosmetic there nonetheless. But still, some very nice lines as I kind of give you a look on the screen of the hood and just kind of the side exterior of the vehicle. But let's talk a little bit about performance and what you're going to find under the hood, gas mileage, all that good stuff. If you're looking for a vehicle that's going to be good on gas mileage and going to get you around no problem, enough horsepower to definitely do the job, this is something you might want to consider looking at. Under the hood is the 2-liter 4-cylinder. I'll give you the horsepower and all that good stuff. Here's your gas mileage numbers: 21 miles per gallon, estimated city 29. Out on the highway, a total of 24 combined. And according to Ford, per every 100 miles you drive, you should burn through 4.2 gallons of fuel. Now, obviously, there are a lot of variables that factor into that, but that's what's on the window sticker nonetheless. But one thing I definitely have to say I like here, you do have the struts to raise the hood. I've seen high-performance vehicles over $50,000 that did not have this feature. So a nice feature nonetheless. I know most people are probably not going to go around opening the hood, maybe taking their Ford Edge to Cars and Coffee or anything like that. And you do have a side-mounted engine here. If you are observant to what you're seeing on the screen, you'll notice that the radiator is over on the right-hand side here, or over by the passenger side wheel on the front. Well, that's why. Now, if you happen to be that person who says, I want to buy a Ford Edge, but the main thing I want to know about is what the underside of the vehicle looks like, here you go. Okay, nobody's ever asked what the underside of an Edge looks like, but if you wanted to know, well, now you do. 18-inch wheels, and if I don't cover this in my videos, somebody will ask in the comments, so let me cover it. Is there a turn signal indicator built into these side view mirrors? Not in this particular case, but that option is available for the Edge. And you have a panoramic sunroof here on the SEL. Something else, a little trivia. On the 2011 model of the Edge, it was the first year there was an infotainment screen. And of course, you have the remote, no changes there for 2021, but of course, lock, unlock, panic button. You can open and close the rear lift gate. The which is a power rear liftgate, and you have remote start, a very popular feature. And something I noticed here that I just thought I'd have some fun with. I don't know how many years this has been on here. I did a 2019 or a 2020 Edge in the last couple of years, but if you walk up to the gas door back here and you're wondering how do you open that, there's a little bit of a space right here that looks like you would push your finger on that to open it. Well, maybe that's why that's there. I'm not actually sure if that's intentional for that purpose or not, but it is something nice to know if you rent something like this, for example, and you have to put gas in it during your rental period. You don't have to look around in the interior and try and find some kind of a release or anything like that. In fact, one thing I haven't tried yet, let's see. That does not lock when you lock the interior, but that's okay, because while it is capless fuel fill, that doesn't mean it's really easy for somebody to come along and put something foreign into your gas tank, because there's multiple baffles in there that are pretty far down to where that's not easy to do, just in case you wanted to know. And of course, you're going to have that shark fin antenna up here, the rear roof spoiler that not only gives the rear of the Edge a pretty nice look, that just wouldn't look as good, I don't think, if that wasn't there, if you just had a window back here, but that also is intended to channel air over the rear window to try and keep that as clean as possible when you're driving down the road. But obviously that's going to get dirty anyway, especially when the vehicle's sitting still. You got the rear wiper for that. And like I said, there are multiple ways to open this power rear lift gate, and I'll put the cargo numbers on the screen, and you maximize your cargo space, of course, by lowering these rear seats back here. There are a couple of releases down here when you're facing the vehicle, as I am right now, to be on your left-hand side or the driver's side. You're going to click up and hold that down to lower the driver's side area, and the passenger side you will push down. Just hold that down and it'll go down on its own. You will have to put those back up manually, but that's how you maximize your cargo space. Got some tie-down points if you ever need to use those. And something that, again, I need to make sure I talk about it because someone will probably ask. If you want to know a little bit more trivia about the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel, the most ridiculous comment I ever received on a video, somebody told me, well, they actually asked, they kind of told on themselves. They said, "What's the price?" And I told them, I mentioned the price or showed the price in the video 7 seconds in when I showed the screenshot of the dealership's website. The price is always on there. And they said, "Well, I didn't watch the video because the price wasn't mentioned in the description." Yeah, that actually happened. I probably should have screenshotted that. It's probably still out there on whatever video that was on. Anyway, back to your regularly scheduled program. Just have those thoughts come and think you might be interested to know something interesting about my videos. What do you have here under the floor? Well, it's not a tire repair kit, it's a spare tire. So that's always good to know. Of course, you've got a button up here to close that. You're going to hear a chime sound to kind of let you know to get out of the way, I guess, when that door is closing. But some very nice features back here as far as cosmetics go. Like I said, LED tail lights, and don't let the fact that this passenger front seat is way back, there is a reasonable amount of room back here. In fact, I'll sit straight up, and while you actually would have more space as the middle seat passenger back here because of the panoramic sunroof, and you do have a power shade if you want to leave that closed or open that up. It is a very nice size panoramic sunroof. I've seen smaller in higher end vehicles than this Edge. Of course, you've got your door bins down here, map pockets. Gonna also have the fold down armrest with drink holders built in, dual air conditioning vents, and you've got 2 USB ports and a 110 volt power outlet back here as well. Really like seeing more and more of that because you just never know what you might need to use that for. That opens things up for a lot more options and a lot more functionality. Something I don't see back here, it is in the rear cargo area, but something I didn't see back here that you normally would, which is a 12 volt power outlet. What do you think about that, guys? I know some of you have told me in previous videos that you use those 12 volt power outlets regularly. Not found here, but there are some throughout the vehicle. Okay guys, let's talk about the front seats. Seating is quite comfortable here, and everything you would expect to see here as far as power locks, doors, windows, all that kind of stuff. controls for your headlights over here on the left-hand side of the steering wheel, and also on the left-hand side of the steering wheel, the blinker stalk or turn signal stalk that you use when you're driving down the road, turning to the right. You push that in the up direction or changing lanes to the right in front of somebody. Push it down when you're doing the same things to the left, in case you didn't know. And every trim level of the Edge comes with that option. So if you see somebody not using it when they're driving down the road in a 2021 Edge, well, you know that they are just not working hard enough as a driver. Okay, if you made it to this point in the video, guys, you got to have a little bit of humor. Comfortable steering wheel here, steering wheel mounted controls, a lot of features and functionality here. Of course, that dashboard right there. You can go through some features and information and settings here on the left-hand side there and the right side as well. Over here, I can't really say anything sarcastic about the lever on the right-hand side of the steering wheel because that's all for windshield wipers, but I can give you some interesting information about the windshield wipers and the headlights working together. The rain sensing headlights the rain sensing windshield wipers. Boy, did I ever open myself up for people to laugh in the comments. I probably deserve it based on tying those words up. But the rain sensing windshield wipers, when they come on, so do the headlights. But one thing that a lot of people may not know about is there actually is a law. I don't know if it's nationwide, but I know for sure it's in Louisiana. If your windshield wipers are running and it's raining, your headlights are supposed to be on. Some interesting information somebody might be able to share, whether or not that's a nationwide law. I don't know. And a little bit of storage, kind of a small cubby up here, not near as deep as what we'll see in some of the F-Series pickup trucks, but something that you won't see in some of the F-Series pickup trucks is the large infotainment screen here. Very interactive, a lot of great information that you can go through here. I'll give you a few shots of that, including a little bit of a shot of the backup camera. And something that in years gone by, you had to go into reverse to see what was behind you with that backup camera, but not anymore. You actually have an option to just push the camera button right down here between the volume and the tuning knobs for the radio right there. But one thing you'll notice that's not there, controls for the air conditioning. That's all within the infotainment screen. Something that might take a little bit of getting used to, but not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something to know about. But something I thought was very interesting here. You have a notepad where you can scribble down some notes in the infotainment screen and even save some of that stuff if you want to. And I say scribble because, as you can see, I left a couple of messages for everybody who's watching. Make sure to take advantage of what they're telling you to do. I appreciate that, by the way. But as you can see, that does not represent good penmanship by any means, but I guess that's what happens when you're using your finger to scribble out information on the screen. But kind of an interesting little feature there, and there is a lot of information, a lot of functionality here. You even have within the owner's manual, if you haven't seen this before in a Ford video, you actually have video tutorials within your owner's manual that you can watch right here on the screen. The background music and even the voiceover on those videos for some reason just reminds me of the 1990s instructional videos. If you got a new job, you'd watch those videos about environmental health and safety and stuff like that, depending on what you did, and for some reason that just reminds me of that. It's not a bad thing, it's just something I noticed and something it definitely made me think about. Of course, you've got push button start for the engine, start and stop. Speaking of stop and start, you do have that feature here, and you can turn that off right here. You've got the rotary dial gear shift, the power parking brake, and behind that, what I love to turn off, the auto stop start feature, so that you don't use your starter up, because every time that does its thing, when the engine restarts, that's one less cycle that starter has in it. Just something you might consider about that. I realize there can be advantages to that, but there can also be disadvantages. Okay guys, as we hop out onto the road for our quick test drive, a couple of things that I did not mention earlier. You do have a manually adjustable steering wheel, tilt and telescopically adjustable, and you do have heated driver and passenger seats. And while I would like to see heated and ventilated, Now, that's not available on this particular model at least, but that is something that is available. And if you're wondering about longevity with the Edge, there is actually a salesman at the dealership who I was talking to earlier who drives a second-hand, it had one owner before he bought it, 2015 model. It has 250,000 miles on it. That's pretty impressive. I'm going to try and remember to get a picture of the odometer just so I can show you all that. If you want to see a full review of that model, let me know. I'm sure he'll be happy to let me borrow the keys and do that. So I'm cruising down the road here, and obviously this is not a high-performance vehicle by any means, but it accelerates just fine. It's going to give you plenty of power to get around slower moving traffic, to accelerate up to a higher speed limit, whether you're merging onto a interstate where the speed limit's maybe 70 miles per hour. Up in Colorado, the speed limit on some roads, if I remember correctly, is actually 75. And if you're having to get around slower moving traffic, maybe on a 2-lane highway or something along those lines, well, the option is there. It's not going to be a problem. And we haven't gotten into an area yet where I can test out and give you my view on how this vehicle rides, but we'll take care of that in just a second. Now, having the chance to accelerate a little bit more, as you can see, we just passed the speed limit sign, which is 65 miles an hour on this road, so I don't want to hear anyone griping about me getting up to speed, but not that you can really hear that with this particular vehicle. But we're about to get down the road here. There's a couple of bridges and a couple of pretty rough patches of road that will give us an idea of how this model rides. Overall, from what I've experienced so far, it's not too bad. You know, that's one thing about that 2011 Ford Edge. You know, I've driven it quite a bit over the years. My mom's owned that one since 2011, I think, was when it was purchased, maybe late 2010, I don't remember. But it is a 2011 model, and it has a bit of a rigid ride, of course. It's got some miles on it, don't remember exactly how much, but this is seeming to be a pretty smooth riding vehicle. This is a road that I do travel quite a bit in a lot of different vehicles from Jimmy Grande Ford, since I don't really have a lot of options as far as test driving goes out in this particular area in Stonewall. But we're about to go over the bridge right here. Let's see how this goes. Definitely improved over the years. Now, I think this may be the second or third model that I've done since I've had my YouTube channel, so I haven't driven a lot of Ford Edges over the years, but for what I'm experiencing here, normally an SUV of this size will tend to have a little bit of a choppy ride to it. That is definitely not the case here, and I'm the only person in the vehicle, so you have no extra weight, no cargo in the rear if you're carrying whatever you pick up from the store back there. But I must say, I'm pretty impressed overall with the driving experience. Visibility is good, the gas pedal's good and responsive, and the brake pedal is nice and responsive. It's not too much and it's not too little, just kind of seems to be tuned to perfection here. I'm going to wait just a little bit longer to get on the brake here. Yeah, not too bad. A little bit more on the soft side than the aggressive side, but still, that's not a bad place to be. It's better than being too far in one direction or the other.
To learn more about the model in today's video, visit the link in the description for a detailed comparison between trims and pricing for the vehicle we featured or any other vehicle you are interested in. These pages feature information such as our recommended trim level based on price, value, and features. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. We look forward to seeing you next time.